Today I'm taking you through the entire Cayo Perico Heist from start to finish. Live commentary, no fluff. Just smooth gameplay and clear guidance so that you can see exactly how it is done. So whether you're new to this heist or you just want a simple walkthrough to follow along, this video will make the whole process very easy. Okay, so that title might have been a little bit clickbait. However, this is not going to be unedited, because I will definitely be throwing in edits for certain parts of this video that are not interesting, such as me flying around for 10 minutes. You guys do not want to see that. So we will only cut to the important information where you guys are actually going to learn something from this video. Because after all, this is a walkthrough and a guide, not just a gameplay video. So without further ado, let's jump into gather intel when we get into this Casaca. Alright, so this is a completely new heist. I have just finished one of my other heists not too long ago. However, we do not have hard mode unlocked, which is completely fine, by the way. Hard mode is just going to give you an extra $50,000 in the finale for the elite challenge, but overall it's the exact same heist, just with extra payout. But if you want hard mode, just restart the heist after 45 minutes of receiving the text from Pavel. In my case, it's been longer than that, but either way, we will set up the heist for $100,000. Rest in peace in the chat, they did increase the cost for the setup. Sucks, but it is what it is. You're going to make a higher profit anyway, so that 100k is totally worth it. But before we get into the gather intel mission, there are 5 different locations that the Velum can spawn at 5 different beaches. The worst locations to get is Polito Bay and Procopio Beach, but at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter which ones you get, because although it will take longer, that difference isn't substantial. So if you get a further location like Procopio Beach, just go with it, and I'll show you how to do that now. So let's start this up. So right now there, we just got grapeseed. So what you're going to want to do is, because my Casaca is nowhere near this location, I'm going to head to the control panel over here, and then whatever button it is on yours, I'm going to click the spacebar to fast travel, and I'm going to move the Casaca closer to the location. In my case, it's going to be San Chianska, whatever the fuck that is, and we're going to head over to Grapeseed, which is going to skip the time in which we have to travel there. Let's say, for instance, I used a vehicle to drive to this location. This would take forever, and we do not want to be doing that because it wastes way too much time. So doing this Casaca method to fast travel to the location is a lot quicker and a lot easier, and it only costs $5,000, so you're not really spending much. But with that being said, we are already here. Now I'm going to stand up, and this is the exact method I've been using for every single heist, by the way. So if you follow this guide, you're going to have a successful heist run no matter what. So we're going to hop into our Sparrow here. One of the most essential upgrades for the Casaca if you want to have so many successful runs and quick runs for this heist. The Casaca, let's turn off that copyrighted music real quick. The Casaca is a great vehicle on its own, but if you get the Sparrow upgrade for it, you are going to save a lot of time with this heist, especially during the setup missions, because without it, you're probably using what, a buzzard or land vehicles, which aren't very reliable to say the least, and you're going to shave off, I would say, 30 to 40 minutes with a Sparrow or even an Oppressor Mark II. So definitely a worthy investment, and I'll show you throughout this walkthrough exactly how we're going to be using this to our advantage. But enough yap, we are at the location here. What I like to do, instead of blowing them up with my missiles, I like to land my Sparrow a little bit further away from the enemies, because these guys definitely have aimbot. And then we're just going to run them down without any weapon that we have. And then we've got this guy over here. Take him out as well. Nothing too crazy here. Just take out the enemies. I don't like to blow them up, because every time I did that with the Sparrow, if I used the missile lock-on, it would sometimes hit the Velum and cause it to get damaged, which isn't very reliable. You do not want that to happen, so I'd be careful with that and just use a weapon of choice instead of the missiles. Better to be safe than sorry, in my opinion. But either way, with the Velum, all you want to do is just travel to the checkpoint, which is going to be down at the docks. This is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think you guys want to sit through a full 5 to 10 minute plane flight, so I'm going to cut to the part where we get to the island, which is where all the information gets a little bit more juicy. But either way, if you want to increase the speed in the Velum, because of course Rockstar gave us the slowest plane in the game, just increase your altitude And don't forget to put the wheels up on the plane. That's going to give it extra velocity. At the end of the day, I'm not an aerodynamic scientist, so I'm probably yapping right now, but that is the gist of it all. So yeah, I'll see you guys when we get to the drop-off location, which should only take 5 minutes from this location. If you get Procopio Beach, maybe 10 minutes. Alright, so we're here at the location, and to be a bit more factual, in my OBS recording, that took us 2.5 minutes to get from Grapeseed to the checkpoint to get onto the island. So honestly, I was a little bit over exaggerating with the time there. It's not that long, to be honest with you. If you do get the Palito Bay location or the Procopio Beach, I would say this would take 6 to 7 minutes to travel to the docks. So not that time consuming, but still quite a lot of effort with the VLAN because it is the slowest plane. Of course it is. Typical Rockstar. Alright, so this is one of the most important parts of the entire heist, because this is where you're going to gather the secondary targets as well as the primary target. So what you want to do, a lot of people make the mistake of, first of all, when they land on the airstrip, they're going to check these areas, and when they get the loot that they want, they're going to go and check this area over here. Then they'll check the main dock, and so on. But this is just a mistake that you should not be making. At the end of the day, for the finale route, which is the best one, and I will show you at the end, you only need airstrip loot. So what I'm going to do is head on into this hangar over here, and the first loot location is going to be down in this section right here. So luckily for us, we actually got Cork, which is the best secondary target to get as a solo player. That is very good RNG right there. And we also got the green stuff. There we go. That is the first loot scoped out. Very easy stuff. But that is not going to be enough for a full loot bag, which you're going to need for Elite Challenge. So instead, we're going to climb on this box over here and head up onto this section and scope out the rest of our loot. And I'm pretty sure we got Cork again. Damn, I have not had this RNG in a while. That is some pretty good luck. So that is our full loot bag sorted. Because 2 Corks are going to be 50% each. So that is a full loot bag sorted. We don't have to get the cash or the weed. So that's good. But if, of course, you do not have the same luck as me and you do not get 2 Corks, that is completely fine. You're still going to need a full loot bag. So I'll show you the next location where secondary targets are going to be. So you just want to head from the hangar and start making your way over towards this hut. Now, here's how the best way to put it. If you get 4 stacks of cash, which is extremely unlucky, and that is the only secondary target you're going to get, then you will have to obtain all of that cash to get a full loot bag. I mean, right here we got Cork yet again, which is crazy luck, I'm not going to lie. And some more cash. But if you get cash and weed, for example, that is going to fill your loot bag as well. Say, for instance, you get 2 weed, get as much as that because each weed stack is 33% and each cash stack is 25%. Whereas Cork is 50%, so that's the best one to get. But either way, this full dock right here with that location and that location will always give you full loot bag no matter what. I've never had an instance where I did not get all of the secondary loot I needed from this area. So just scope out this area and you'll get the loot that you need. It's not that hard. Next, we need the primary target. So the best method to use without a doubt is heading towards this bike right here. And then we're just going to follow the exact path that I'm going to take right now. So we'll turn up onto this grass over here and we'll just start making our way through the shrubbery. But be careful because some of these bushes are very sneaky. They can knock you off your bike without even knowing it. So just go the route that I'm taking right here. What I like to do when I get to this section, when I see this hill over here, pop a wheelie like so, try not to hit that. And now we're going to make our way to the scariest part for most people, which is actually the easiest. Watch that guard right there. Watch the guard in the watchtower and just make a V-line for this hill right here and wheelie on the rock. And there we go. I'm over. Look at that. Piece of cake. Just put it into practice. At the end of the day, I see a lot of people struggle with this jump, but all it is practice and eventually perfection. I did not know how to do that at first. After doing it 5, 6, 7, okay, 6, 7. After doing it 5, 6, 7 times, I eventually got the hang of it. But now what we're going to want to do is just make our way past this camera over here. Just drive behind the camera. This is a sneaky bugger right there. Careful with that, as well as any other guards. And I'm just going to make our way up here. And as you can see, I currently have a guard at the bottom of the tower, so that means the communications box is going to be on top of the tower itself. However, if this guard is not here, the signal box is going to be over here or over there on the bottom floor. So let's just start climbing up. And also you can hear that little humming noise, so you already know that you're here. And then let's get into the signal box right here. And this hack is pretty straightforward, to be honest. If you passed maths in school, you should be able to do this. So no doubt I will fail it on my first try, but yeah. 7, the X is going to be times 10. There you go. And then this, there we go. Easy. That is the hack complete. No problems with that at all, compared to the fingerprint hack, which we'll get into at the end of the video. So let's try and get a good primary target, shall we? Just going to want to skim through all of the cameras until we get to the basement camera. So just keep pressing the camera keys to change camera. There we go, we're in the basement. Let's see, is my RNG good today? Well, no. That is Tequila, one of the worst primary targets. In fact, the worst one. So let's get that out of the cameras there. I'm not too bothered about that because the secondary loot was really good. But if you get pink diamond, 1.3 million. If you get the ruby necklace, 700k. The tequila that I've just got is 630k, and bearer bonds is 770k. So let us jump off here right now and just go straight into the floor. So the reason I did that is because it's going to spawn us back at the airstrip, which is just extremely time saving without having to travel all the way back. And let's return to Los Santos. That is gather intel complete. Honestly, I've been able to run through this in 5 minutes. That took literally 5 minutes from the time that I landed until the time that I've left. So not a problem with gather intel. We've got our secondary loot, we have our primary target, and now we can start setting up the heist with the rest of the setup missions, which I'm going to walk through step by step with exactly how I've done it over the past 2 years of successfully running this heist. So now we're going to request our Kasaka, and then I'm going to go over here and request my Sparrow, and there we go, it's just going to spawn right near me. That is why the Sparrow is so convenient, because it's just there. No time wasting, terrible spawn locations, it's just going to spawn right next to you, which allows us to jump straight into the next setup. And the first setup mission I always complete is the approach vehicle. There isn't an actual order that you have to go in. This is just an order that I've done it in the entire time I've done this heist, so I always stick to this order no matter what, because it's routine at this point, so I wouldn't want to change it. So yeah, I do approach vehicle first, then weapon loadout, then plasma cutter or safe codes, then fingerprint cloner, and then finally cutting torch before the finale. But like I said, it does not matter which order you do it in, because you're still going to complete the setups either way. But if you're following this guide, go in the order that I'm going in as well, because that would make the most sense. But yeah, let's get into the approach vehicle. There we go right there, 630k for the tequila and 1.7 mil with the secondary targets. Well, 1.1 mil, my bad. Let's get into the preps. We'll go on the approach vehicle, and the Longfin is what we're using. This is without a doubt the best approach vehicle for this heist. I know a lot of people compare the Longfin and the Kasaka. At the end of the day, I haven't used the Kasaka approach in, I would say, 2 to 3 years. It's no longer something I enjoy. The Longfin is the fastest, most efficient, and easiest approach vehicle for the finale, so I always recommend doing it. So let's get into this. Luckily, we got Vespucci Police Station, which is exactly where our Kasaka is located, and you know the drill at this point. We're going to hop in the Sparrow. You guessed it. This is the fastest way to get to the police station without wasting unnecessary time. So there is, in fact, a method for this. Turn off that goddamn copyright. So there is a method for this. If you own a Phantom Wedge, you're going to want to request it when we get to the police station. And I'll show you exactly how to do that as well. Everything in this video is going to be explained, so you can do it just like I do. In fact, most of you will not own a Phantom Wedge, let's be honest. If you don't own one, you're going to want to just go to the truck cabs that have been put on your map. But for this guide, just do exactly what I do. Go to manage vehicles, request special vehicle, Phantom Wedge, service vehicles. I'm going to return our Sparrow to the storage. I'm also going to stock up on armor as well, because these police officers have aimbot and they will shred you to bits. So yeah, let's hop in our Phantom Wedge right here. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's truck cabs on the map that you can go and grab. But we will not be doing that in this guide, because that is for brokies, unfortunately. And this is a pretty specialized guide, so let's go. Now we're just going to reverse into here. Hopefully not get shot to pieces. Reverse into the truck cab. There we go. Done. Complete. In and out in literally 5 seconds. So, as you can see right there, if I did not equip armor, I would have been done for. So definitely full snacks, full armor if you want to do that, because you're going to get shredded through and most probably killed, which you don't want. But at this point, we're literally just going to drive the truck cab over to the docks. I learned this location off by heart now, so it's just rinse and repeat, going to the same spot. And luckily for us, the Phantom Wedge, it's not only reliable for this setup mission, but it is also a very powerful vehicle. As you can see, it's a pretty powerful vehicle, which is another upside of this, but it's also just very convenient with being able to request it in the interaction menu and absolutely blitz through this setup mission. Once we get to this area, I'm going to request the Kasaka, which is going to instantly spawn it right where I need it to be for when I complete the mission. Pretty terrible driving from me there, but either way. So right now we are at the drop-off location, but as you can see, it's telling me to lose the cops, so I can't complete the mission. But what we're going to do is drive through this fence right here, park the Longfin exactly at this spot, and just hop out. I'm going to use a grenade. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to use a sticky bomb. Get the facts right. And then just blow myself up. Pretty simple. I pretty much did that so that I would lose the cops. That way, I can literally finish the mission by just going over to the truck cab. And once I get in it, it's going to already register that I'm on the checkpoint. And it's going to finish the mission right there on the spot. As we're going to see right here as an example. There we go. Done. And dusted. Then we'll open up the interaction menu, return vehicle, and we just requested the wrong vehicle. That is not good. We're going to request our Oppressor Mark II. Of course, it's destroyed. That's not what I wanted. Thanks, Fawn. Appreciate that. I'm going to go to Moz Mutual, get my trusty Oppressor. Wasting a little bit of time here, but it's worth it. And I'm soft-locked. I mean, it wouldn't be a GTA video without a couple problems from GTA itself, right? Alright. I mean, this is perfect. There we go. Alright, so we're going to request our Oppressor Mark II. Usually, I would not have my Oppressor Mark II destroyed, but I didn't really plan ahead. So, yeah, we're going to request that. And then we're just going to use this to fly on over to the Kasaka. I only do this because it is faster. It would have been faster if I actually quickly requested my Oppressor and it wasn't destroyed. But either way, that's just an example. I'm going to use it right now to fly to the Kasaka. And then what I do is I just land it right here. Always return it because it will definitely get destroyed. And then enter the Kasaka. But it doesn't really matter. You can use the Sparrow if you want. It's honestly no problem at all. But the next setup mission we're going to do is, in fact, the weapon loadout. It doesn't matter which weapon loadout you go with, because at the end of the day, with the route that I'm going for in the finale, you rarely have to kill any of the guards. So I always go with the Conspirator, just for personal preference. You can go with the Aggressor if you want to. It's a solid loadout in itself, and so is the Conspirator. So I'm going to stick with my principle and go with the Conspirator, as always. So let's start that. And here we go. I was hoping it would give me an example for you guys for this video. We got the Merryweather HQ mission. The worst mission in the game. It wastes around 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do is to re-roll the mission. I'm going to head to my guided missiles, which is an upgrade for the Kasaka. And luckily, we are also at the exact same location. So the Valkyrie is going to be here for this mission. What we're going to do, boom. Just going to destroy it right there. And in the past, I won't lie, I have had some terrible luck with this mission. I think I've been given this mission 6 or 7 times in a row. That's not an exaggeration, I genuinely have. There we go again. We've got the Merryweather HQ mission. But luckily, there is 2 guided missiles for us to use. While the other one is on cooldown, look, it's currently still loading. This one is ready for us to use. So right now, there we go. Destroy that. There we go. That one is finished on cooldown now. So hopefully that is only 2 missions that I get. I don't want to get the Merryweather HQ mission. There we go. Perfect. That is actually great for the video. That is giving me a perfect example of getting 2 missions back to back and what to do. So there we go. We got the building mission, which is ultimately the best weapon loadout mission to get. If you do get the Merryweather mission and you do not have guided missiles, it's simple. Just find a new session and it's going to do the exact same thing. It's the same premise as blowing up the helicopter. It's just going to re-roll the mission for you so that you can get better RNG and hopefully get the building mission like I did. For this mission, there is always going to be a building that you have to land on top of, because you never want to go into the main entrance. There is always going to be a ton of guards there and you don't want to waste time fighting them, because the building entrance is stealthy, it's quick, and it's simple. But sometimes for these missions, the roof zone that you have to land on, especially with the Sparrow, is a little bit sketch. So you want to be careful with how you land. But here we go, let's see if I can not throw this on the first try. So yeah, this building's one of them. Not really great landing zone, but we managed to master it. Alright, so going to get out my trusty AP pistol and let's head on in. Now hopefully this works first try. I've had some bad luck with this method, but follow exactly what I do. So we're going to run through this way, shoot through the door like that. Terrible, terrible, terrible aim, but you get the gist. Alright, so those guards are taken care of, and then we're just going to open the safe and then hack the laptop like so. If you just took out them two guards and then this guard, you wouldn't have had to get spotted, and you could have just done exactly what I'm doing now, but faster, because you didn't have to kill any of the guards. So yeah, that's just the basic idea of it. But either way, killing the guards doesn't really make a difference, because it's only a few more minutes of, well, not even minutes. It's just a few more seconds of wasted time. So anyway, we've collected the weapons. Let's exit to the roof this time. Do not exit to the ground floor like a lot of people do, because you will get shredded and killed. So here we go. Weapons are collected. Done and dusted. Okay, are we dead ass? Okay. Well, that is not supposed to happen. I would I would watch yourself with the enemy AI. He was on some kamikaze type mission there. Anyway, as I was about to say before I was rudely interrupted, I'm going to throw up a recording on screen of exactly how that was supposed to go if you did it successfully. You get the idea of what I was going to try and do. If I didn't miss those headshots, I wouldn't have been alerted, but either way, this gameplay shows exactly how it would have went, smoothly and successfully. So, unfortunately I threw. Well done, Berserker, good job. But now we're just going to deliver these weapons back to the Kasaka. So next up is going to be Plasma Cutter. Now, this is going to be safe codes if you get the bearer bonds. Not so much Madrazo files, because if you're watching this guide, you probably have already done your heist on the first try. But if you get bearer bonds, it will be safe codes instead of Plasma Cutter. So, equipment, Plasma Cutter, let's get into this. So the first location is the safe house, and I feel like you guys get the gist now. It's kind of self-explanatory when it comes to this part. You're just going to want to hop in the Sparrow, exit the Kasaka, and fly to the area. So when we get to the safe house location, I'll show you guys what to do when we get there. Alright, we got a pretty solid safe house location. It wasn't too far away from our Kasaka. Again, the landing zone is pretty slim here, but I'm going to use my pilot license of 17 years to land this properly. There we go. Alright, so what you want to do here is go into first person, always go into first person, and just run straight in right here. And then, for some reason, there is a method that works. Open up your camera, take a photo right here, walk forward, so it triggers the checkpoint, and then exit. There you go. Simple as that. For some very strange reason, that counts as the evidence that Pavel needs. And as you can hear him, he's still speaking his voice lines as if I was in the building. So it just goes to show how fast that method works. And I'm still in the air without even knowing the location of the archive. So yeah, let's head on over to Del Perero, which is another solid location for where our Kasaka is. But as you can see right here, we are at the bank. I want to say be careful when you get here, because these enemies might be detected and they might start spraying you. So yeah, here we go. I'm going to equip some armor and some snacks so I don't get killed. And then what you're going to want to do, get an explosive of any kind and just start spraying and praying. There we go. Take out the vehicles around. And then just spray and pray. And now the vehicles are going to show up. I'm just going to take these guys out. Take these guys out with succession. With my Hitman Supreme aim. Get a couple snacks before we get butchered. And there we go. And now a second wave of enemies is going to start approaching. But we should be in the Kasaka by the time they show up. So, here we go. And now we're just going to deliver the plasma cutter straight back to the Kasaka. The reason I use explosives for that is because it literally just obliterates the vehicles and the enemies in the area. So it's pretty much just the fastest way to get rid of them. So yeah, I recommend using explosives. If you want to use a weapon, like a MG or a carbine, do that as well. Doesn't really matter. Alright, the next setup mission is going to be the Fingerprint Cloner. These missions follow a pretty similar style and structure, especially the plasma cutter and the Fingerprint Cloner. It's just going to be going to one location, and then after that location, you're going to go to the final one, collect the material that you need, and then deliver it back. It's simple as that. Rinse and repeat this, and you will just keep learning it, and eventually it's going to be clockwork, literally, especially when you use this guide and this video to help you. Alright, warehouse time. Let me see if I can land this successfully. Once again, I have got my pilot's license, so I've got about 15 hours of flight experience. There we go. When you get here, equip armor, because these guys are very unpredictable. I always recommend going in with the assault shotgun, as you can literally just spray and pray, like quite literally. Always be ready when to aim and just start sending it. Okay, what the fuck happened there? See what I mean? I swear I glitched out there. Am I tripping? Anyway, return fire. And there we go. Simple as that. Either way, dying just then didn't really make a difference because Pavel is going to take a while to finish his voice lines. But either way, we're into the computer anyway. So let's just start hacking this. Let's get through this without my mouse sensitivity literally throwing me. Alright, there we go. That would have went a little bit smoother. Don't get me wrong. That was a bit rusty. I will throw the towel in there. But next we have to go to the archive to collect the fingerprint cloner. And once again, we got a pretty solid location. Our RNG has been really good so far with these setup missions in terms of locations, which I'm pretty happy with. But RNG in other aspects have not been good, so can't really triumph our victory here. But either way, when we get to this location, forget the cameras, just run straight in. Doesn't matter if the guards spot you, because there isn't any guards in here. So what you're going to want to do is run straight into the corner of this room. The hitbox has been increased a lot for the fingerprint cloner. As you can see, I collected it by barely even touching it. And we collected that without even being in the perimeter of it. So there we go, that was pretty simple. Now we're just going to deliver this back. We're not even going to worry about the guards because they present zero problem for us. I mean, they're on the literal other side, so yeah. We are right at our Kasaka. Like I said, RNG has been great with these locations. All of these setup missions so far have taken 4 to 5 minutes each. Gather Intel was the only dilemma out of it with 10 minutes, but either way, these have been very quick and concise setup missions. We can now get on to the cutting torch, which is by far one of the easiest setup missions in the entire game. I think this is probably the fastest setup that you can complete. Let's go to equipment, cutting torch, and let's head to the construction site. So there is 3 possible construction sites that you can get. One that is down towards the mansion areas. You can get the other small construction site, and then you can get the very infamous Mile High Club. Okay, so this is the mansion construction site that I was talking about. It's actually the best one to get, in my opinion. It's fastest, less hassle with having to go around different areas and maneuver around. But the premise is exactly the same for each of the construction sites. We're just going to land right there. And for this location, we're going to use the hard hat. And it's going to be located right here. What I recommend doing is equipping a weapon, and then it will allow you to equip the hard hat. Because if you don't, that text in the corner of the screen that you see, it's going to stay there for like a minute, and it's not going to let you equip it. So equip a weapon. Don't forget to unequip it before you go on the construction site. And this will allow you to literally move around invisible. Like, no one can even spot you. It's kind of broken, kind of illogical, but we don't care about that. It's GTA. So we're going to check every single construction toolbox. That is the ground floor finish, so we'll check the rest of them. This one's empty. We missed that one over there. Try not to hit into any of the guards, by the way. There we go. We got this one. The hitbox is a little cooked, and we've just cooked ourselves. Nice. Yeah, we cooked ourselves. Perfect. I mean, this is just an example of how broken this game is. But either way, we've collected it. We try and not hit this guard. There we go. Because if you hit into any of the guards or even the construction workers, you'll automatically get spotted. So be careful of where you're running. Be careful of where you're walking, because you don't want to risk it. But with that done, that took literally 2 minutes. And that is it. That is literally as simple as that. Let's deliver this back, and we're actually on to the finale. Perfect. On my OBS screen right now, it says 42 minutes we have been recording. Now, that is 42 minutes of all of the preps. Don't get me wrong, I did speak a lot because I'm trying to make a video that is informative. But without the speaking, without like right here where I'm stood right now doing nothing, this would have taken me 35 minutes, I'd say. 35 minutes to do all of the prep missions. Every single necessary prep mission for this heist is absolutely solid. That is the quickest heist in history. We already know this. These setups are extremely fast to do, super solid to do, but now we're getting on to the most important part. All preps are done. We do not have to bother with disruption. They are useless. They will not help you. They're very unnecessary, because if you follow the route that I show in the finale, you will never have to need the disruption preps ever again. So, speaking of finale, let's get into it. Right here, we're just going to speed run through. All of this is completely unnecessary. You don't really matter about this, but when it gets to weapon loadout, do not forget to get suppressors. Double click on that and it will unlock suppressors without having to pay $5,000. Let's get into it. This will be the fastest route to complete for this heist. If you follow this route, you will without a doubt get success. It's as simple as that. There's no if, buts or maybes, just absolutes. So with the Longfin, we're going to hold hard on the handbrake. So it's going to allow us to turn and literally just skim through these rocks over here. There we go. There we go. Perfect cut through the rocks right there. Nearly did a little backflip over them rocks, I'm not going to lie. But now, here's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to head to the airstrip where we collected the secondary loot. And when we get up on here, make sure you slow down, because a lot of people have problems with this. Put your Longfin like this. There we go. Edge it slowly. Pause. And then it's going to start rolling back. That is exactly what we want. If it does not roll back and it gets stuck on the shore, then you threw the heist, because the Longfin will disappear and you won't be able to get to the compound. So always do exactly what I just did there. A lot of people have problems with that. So right here, we need to head to the airstrip where our loot is. We're going to completely ignore this guard. He has done no problems. He can get on with his shift. We're just going to run right past him. There we go, straight in. And he didn't hear a word there because for some reason the guard's hearing is pretty terrible. But either way, we're going to use the cutting torch that we just got to get into this bottom section right here. Obviously we have 1 cork, so there we go. Let's get the first cork stack, which is going to give us half of the loot bag that we need. And obviously, and luckily as well, the last cork stack is up there, so I'll show you how to get up there. There we go, 240k from 1 stack. So that is going to give us around 420k. So, you're going to want to hop into this forklift right here. And then you see this box right here. Make sure these forks are lined up. There we go, grab that. And then just position, make sure it's fully up. And then just start driving over here. Slap down right hard into it so it's up against the wall nice and flush. Climb up onto here, onto there, and we're in. Simple as that. Now we can start cutting open this. So yeah, that's the best method to use. I mean, that's the only method to use, to be honest. You can't get into this area any other way. So yeah, we're in, and then we can get the final stack, which is going to give us the full loot bag for Elite Challenge. This is the perfect way to do this. Like I said, if you do not have full loot bag by this point, make sure to grab all of the loot. Obviously, I got 2 corks, so grab that and grab the loot below as well. And you should get full loot bag, but if not, head to the hut on the other side, which we scoped out in the Gather Intel mission. And now you see this pesky guard that we left earlier. Make sure he walks past and then just make a beeline for it, because he will turn around and his cone will potentially spot you. It's happened before. Be careful with that. But now we are out. We've got all the secondary loot that we needed. And we have a full loot bag. Piece of cake. We are going off to a good start. And as you can see, because we put the Longfin over here, it's drifted a small bit over to the shore. But all we have to do is swim out to it. So it's no problem at all. Because if you did park it fully on the shore, like I have done plenty of times, and others have clearly done based on the comments on my guides, make sure you edge it slowly so that the rest of the Longfin is sticking out into the water. Because if not, it's not going to drift back out and it will get stuck. But either way, we can now make our way to the compound, which is where the magic happens. Pretty sophisticated, because you guys need to follow this compound route to successfully pull off this heist. Because I know a lot of you guys have issues with the compound. You successfully do this part, you do all of the setups right, but when it comes to the compound, you panic and you make mistakes. But if you do exactly what I do, the compound becomes an actual cakewalk. Like, you can get through the compound with no problems if you keep doing this method over and over. So right here, we're going to get to the compound. The gate is already scoped out. We're going to jump out right here. And we're going to press G on keyboard to put a rebreather on. And get straight into the drainage tunnel. So I press G on PC to put the rebreather on, which lets me breathe underwater without dying. And right now, all you gotta do is hold down the cutting torch and just literally go in a zigzag pattern. Just keep going up and down, and eventually, there you go, it's gonna cut through it. It's just right here, I'm holding down, going across, and there we go, it's cut through. Up and down on here. Some of them are gonna be a bit, you know, they're gonna fight back, they're not gonna want to get cut. But just go over them again, and you'll get through. Simple as that. So right now, the rebreathers are like glitching out in the corner. It's been doing that for a while now. I don't know what that glitch is, but whenever I equip the rebreather, it just starts spamming. But either way, we're going to go into first person, and then we're going to enter the compound, press the E, which is going to let us go through here. The reason I go into first person, and I recommend you guys do as well, it just allows for more maneuverability and less chance of being spotted, in my opinion, because it doesn't decrease your hitbox, but it allows you to move more easily without the chances of being spotted. But now, what we're going to do is follow this exact compound route. So, right here, we're already in a perfect line. Go up these stairs, turn this way, and don't worry about the guards, just ignore them. Keep going this way. Don't even matter about the sound, just keep running. No one's going to hear you. Now, when we get here, we're going to stop. We're going to stop right here, and then we're going to wait for this guard to start walking. And we're going to keep letting him walk. Do not take him out yet. Wait till he fully stops. Look, he's still walking. Now he's stopped. Take him out. And now, luckily, he's dropped his gate keys, so we'll grab them. And now we're going to keep walking. Do not run. Ignore this guard right here. Now we can start running because we're out of his corner of sight or corner of hearing. Now we're going to wait for this guard. Take him out as well. And there we go. That's all the guards you need to take out in the compound. Simple as that. Do not forget to grab the safe code. That is the only reason I'm going up here. Get the safe code, get the money inside. Decent amount. It's free money. Take it. And now here's what we're going to do, because we got gate keys. We're going to jump off here. There we go. Straight off there. I'm still in first person at this point because it's just easy to move about. Now we're going to go down here into the basement. Use the keys that we just got. Open the gate. And now we have one fingerprint hack, because if we were in El Rubio's office, it would have been 3 fingerprint hacks. But down here, it's only 1. So, here's how you do this hack, because a lot of you guys struggle with this. So, as you can see, I have just selected the top. It matches the top on that side. Now I'm going to select the top again and move across by 1. Then, select the top again, move across by 2. And you want to repeat that until it matches the other fingerprint. That is the best method to do that. It's simple, it's fast. There we go, I did that in 30 seconds while explaining it. Usually it would take 10 seconds. And now we're going to get ourselves to the primary target. Now let's start using the plasma cutter. For this as well, there's also a method. Rise the heat all the way up until it gets to red, then drop it. And now rise the heat up until it gets to red and let it drop. And repeat that exact same thing around about 4 times until it successfully gets into it. There we go. This will be the last one we do. Done. And we're in. Easy peasy. And now we can get out of here. Alright. So far, smooth sailing. I hope you guys are also having it easy. And now we're out the same way we got in. Now we're going to climb up this part right here. And now, make a beeline for the exit. Press on it, and that's going to confirm it. So no matter if a guard sees you right there, after you've pressed it, it will not count as being spotted. But do be careful with that, by the way. Do not just run for it while there is a guard making your line of sight, because you will get spotted. But there we go. I've successfully got the primary target. I only took 2 guards out, which are not going to be seen, and we can now get out without any problems. 1.1 million in the bag so far. Now take out this guard right here. Boom. Get on his bike. And literally, this is a cakewalk at this point. You've already done the hard part. If you made it to this point, well done. You've done a really good job so far. We're going to ignore this guard. He's going to spot a body anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't count towards the elite challenge if he spots it. And then just head straight off this cliff and dive straight into the water right there. Make sure you equip your rebreather so that you don't drown to death. That would not be a good way to end the heist. All we have to do now is swim directly forward. What I like to do is, if you look at the map right there, you can see that small little hump in the map to where the map ends. What you want to do is just swim out towards that. And eventually, the text which says escape Cayo Perico, it's going to remove from the bottom of your screen and disappear. Once that happens, you do not have to worry about anything else. You have completed the heist, no worries at all. We'll wait a little bit longer. It does take a while, it is a bit annoying, but as you can see, I've reached that border of that little hump area. And eventually, escape Cayo Perico is going to disappear if we keep swimming out a little bit further. There we go, it's gone. Heist is coming complete. Like I said, I did get spotted because of that one body, because of the patrolling vehicle which I told you to ignore. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about that. If that guard gets spotted, it will not affect the elite challenge. But with that being said, we can now skip cutscenes in this game, which is kind of an amazing quality of life update. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the cutscene and we'll go over the stats. We'll see how fast that took us. This would definitely be a shorter heist. Not shorter, longer, because I obviously walked through it. I spoke more, so a lot of time was wasted. But either way, this shouldn't have taken 10 minutes. Right on cue. 10 minutes complete, 0 hacks failed, and a full loot bag. Boom, elite challenge, 50k extra for doing literally nothing except doing the heist properly. And there we have it. That is $1 million. And I'm currently checking the time on this recording. It has been 50 minutes. 50 minutes. This video might be 40 or 45 minutes, depending on how much has been cut out. But there you go. That is the heist complete in 45 minutes or less. Realistically, with me talking and explaining things a lot more, this would have been 40 minutes. Maybe even 35 if we're pushing it. But 40 minutes to get this complete. Fastest method without a doubt. I really hope this helped you guys out a lot, because although the guides are useful, I know you guys enjoy the guides a lot and they definitely help out. I feel like it's a bit more refreshing when you have somebody explaining things in real time, because when I make guides, I overly edit them and I compress the information into a suitable video. But with me sitting here, toning back the editing, just really focusing on explaining and playing the game, I think it's a lot more dynamic. It's a lot more easy to understand, and it's kind of a lot more personal because you guys are doing it as well. I hope you guys agree with what I've just said. I hope it did actually help. I really do. But if you keep watching this video, I'm without a doubt in my head, I know you guys will finish this heist consistently with no problems. I've been using this exact method, setups and finale, for about 2 years now, and I have had no problems with it at all. And I've always consistently got a elite challenge. It's the best route, the best method, and the fastest method. So if you guys agree, drop a like on it if you enjoyed. Drop a like on it if it was helpful. Comment down below with any questions. Trust me, I will answer all of them. But with that being said, that was it, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. And good luck with the heist. Take care.